Why hello YouTube, it's Nuclear Weasel here bringing you another deck tech. This one is Modern Bogles. And Modern Bogles is such a funny deck. A lot of people think it's the girlfriend deck, because you build it for your girlfriend to play, and as a matter of fact, I do have a girlfriend, and as much as I would love to see her play, and she would play this, she hates the fact that I play Magic. It spends a whole lot of money on it, when in reality I didn't spend really anything on this deck. But I digress. Let's get into the deck itself. So, for Bogles, I mean, it wouldn't be Bogles without, for Slippery Boggle. Slippery Boggle, they just should have printed a little line of text that said hexproof. This card is very, very good. It cannot be the target of spells or abilities your opponent controls, which means hexproof. It's a 1-drop. It's a green-blue hybrid, which really means it's a 1-green hexproof creature. So pretty simple. The next 1-green hexproof creature, I think we all know as Gladecover Scout. It actually does say the line hexproof. It's a 1/1. It's essentially the same exact thing. Pretty self-explanatory. And yes, as much as I would love the fact that this deck needs more hexproof creatures, like Basara Tower Archer or Witchbane Stalker, those cards do not pose enough threat in the game for you to win it. Because those two cards both cost two green, whereas Witch Stalker costs 2 green, 1 colorless. They're both good cards, and they had their time in Standard. They are now not very good. They don't really pose as much of a threat as cards such as Core Spirit Dancer. It's 1 white, 1 colorless, 0/2. Seems very harmless until you read the line of text that says for every aura attached to it, it gets +2/+2, plus whatever the aura says. So, regardless of whether or not it has a Key Sense or Spirit Link on it. Key Sense and Spirit Link equal a 4/6. Which is ridiculous. And there's another line of text that says, whenever you play an aura card, draw a card. So that means every time you play one, doesn't matter if it resolves, you play one, you draw a card. This card is very, very, very good. I love the fact that it's in this deck. Originally I didn't think it was kind of good, and then once I got it to a 2018, I realized it's a very good card. 2018. That's absurd. That nothing in the game can kill that. I mean, yeah, Path to Exile. Moot point. Very good card. Must be a 4 of. And that's it for the creatures. Like I said, there's plenty of other hexproof creatures in the game. They just don't really do anything for the deck anymore. It's kind of just these 12. If you put any more creatures in this deck that don't have hexproof, aside from these 4, which always get bolted, pathed, or dismembered, as it is, if you play any more than these 12, you're kind of going to have a bad time, because you don't really do a whole lot. Alright, going into the pants, we're going to have 2 Keen Sense. I think this is a very overrated card. I do not like this card. I do not like it, Sam I Am. It does not have a single word on it with a plus signature next to it, or a plus sign next to it. Every other card in this deck that equips to a creature, aside from the next card, which we'll get into that, says +1/+1 or +X/X. Doesn't matter what it says, it's very, very good. If you don't pump your creatures, you're going to have a bad time. You can't put pants on with this. This is not really a pant card. Yes, okay, they stack. Big whoop. As much as I would love to put 4 Keen Sense on 1 Slippery Boggle and attack with it, you know what? That Slippery Boggle is still just a 1/1. I don't like this card. I've been told many times that it needs to be a 4 of, and I will, without a doubt, tell you you're wrong. Because I've played the deck, and while other people have played the deck, and they can play 4 Keen Sense, fine. I don't like this card. In reality, the 2 got replaced by this. Spirit Link. It's kind of weird how it works. It says whenever enchanted creature deals damage, you gain that much life. Doesn't have the line of text that says lifelink. Therefore, lifelink and this trigger, and you gain double, essentially. Double lifelink, really. There's no such thing, but you gain double that. So you get, if you have a 4/4 with lifelink, with this on it, you're going to get a total of 8. It's kind of how it works. I love putting like turn 1 dude into turn 1 pump Spirit Link into next turn Daybreak Coronet. It's ridiculous because you gain double that life, and it's just really hard to come back from. It wouldn't be a Boggle deck without Rancor. +2/+0, pretty straightforward. Whenever it dies, put it back in your hand, but they don't really die, really. Hyena Umbra, kinda moot. It says first strike. Yeah, there's a lot of cards that say that in this deck, so it kind of falls underneath them, because the other two are much better. It does give you Totem Armor for 1 white, and gives +1/+1, so it's really, really good. You're not really playing a Boggle deck without these staple, like, 20 cards. Spider Umbra, Reach, +1/+1, Totem Armor. Very, 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 very straightforward. I mean, if we're going to go into absurd cards, let's talk about this one. They were idiotic to print this. 1 white gets +1/+1 for every enchantment you control. Are you kidding me? And it has first strike? They are idiotic for printing this card. It is, I think, the strongest card in this deck. Because they stack super funny. It's hilarious how big your guy gets when you have multiples of these. But 1 mana +1/+1 for every enchantment counts itself. It's ridiculous. This card is very, very good. It's a staple of these next, like these 20. So we're at 12. No, okay, I had it right, 16. So 16, not 20, because then you're going to be playing 4 Daybreak Coronets, obviously. Daybreak Coronet is also underneath Ether Armor. It's the best card in the deck. Yeah, it kind of falls in a category of its own where you have to have another aura attached to a creature, but that's not the problem. The auras really stay on it as long as your creatures are alive. And so that shouldn't be a problem. And if your creature already got an aura before they, say, your opponent plays a Spellskite, this makes it so that they can't have this Daybreak Coronet if it already doesn't have a enchantment on it, or an aura, really. +3/+3, Vigilance, First Strike, and Lifelink. I think that's all I need to say about that card. It's very, very good. And, surprisingly enough, I found out that Spirit Mantle is a great card. It has the line of text that says +1/+1, and it says this really funny part that says protection from creatures. I love seeing the look on people's faces when they read this card and go, oh, I'm just dead. Alright, scoops up their cards. It happened to Infect. They kind of just didn't read this card. I threw it on my dude and I'd attack. And he said, okay, block. Can't block. Why? Protection from creatures. Oh, they just lost. This card is very, very good. It was originally just a 2 of, but now it's a 4 of because I've seen what it can do. And there are a lot of creature decks, and this card is just really, really funny. To the lands, pretty simple. 1 Dryad Arbor, which is really kind of a creature itself, but that's not the point. It's you can put stuff up on it. It's kind of weird to do it. I've seen it done once before, and you win, because it can't be Abrupt Decayed. Actually, there's a lot of cards that really don't affect it, and if you get board wiped, you can fetch into it and start loading it up. That's a different point. Now you're playing 1 of Basic Plains, 2 of Basic Forest, because you gotta run around that Blood Moon. 4 Temple Garden, obviously. This is like the weird part, Brushland. This is basically Horizon Canopy. You can play Horizon Canopy, please. Please play Horizon Canopy if you want to just not care about money. This is my cheap deck that I built on the side because burn kind of gets boring after a while. It does, like, you can add colorless, which is cool, so you don't always have to take damage. But it doesn't let you draw a card, which, I mean, yeah, I guess it's a problem, but I've never really found an opportunity where I would just needed a Horizon Canopy. If that was a Horizon Canopy, I might have won the game. It doesn't matter. Brushland is a $6 card versus $60. I don't want to be spending $240 versus $24. It's pretty simple. And then you have obviously, your 8 fetches. This can be any iteration of green. It could be Verdant Catacombs, Misty Rainforest, or Wooded Foothills. It's really just to fit your basic forests. Which, in the case that you play more plains than forests, you can just go to white, which is marsh flats or arid mesas. It's really just your point. These are the only 4 lands that I would change, I guess, aside from these. But yeah, it's pretty simple. To the sideboard, we have one of Rest in Peace, because as good as Rest in Peace is, you want to bring it in against those Snapcaster decks and the decks that rely on the graveyard, but you don't really care about them as it is. Unflinching Courage for decks like Burn, and it's really just about Burn. You want to get more lifelink in. Suppression Field for obvious reasons, because Suppression Field is very, very good. It's also an enchantment, so it gets plussed by Ethereal Armor. Just think about that and Rest in Peace. So yeah, you kind of want to just turn off your any activated abilities. So it's pretty good. Stony Silence, Affinity. Spellskite, there's too many decks to even start about it, including the Mirror Match, Burn, Infect, yeah. Leyline of Sanctity, Burn, obviously, and other decks like that, including mono black decks that involve a lot of hand hate and Path to Exiles. So, lovely thing about sideboards is that you can change them. It's your opinion and your meta and your LGS and how everything plays out. I don't think I would ever change anything in this deck aside from these Unflinching Courages, where it was 2 Spiritlings side, 2 Unflinching Courages main, but I found out that Spirit Mantle was just a far better draw in many situations versus this. I never really played this card. So this can change into any more of these cards or any less of these cards and add more pants that do stuff, but I mean, what other pants do you need? I guess it's really awkward. There's other, like, Bear Umbra, I guess. Bear Umbra is pretty good. Boar. That's all I can really think about, but I don't really think you want to be putting anything other than more lifelink in your sideboard, because Burn is a deck, and it's very hard to beat. It's very 50-50, surprisingly. I thought Burn would just automatically lose, but Burn has 8 Skullcracks now, and Deflecting Palm postboard. So, anyway, that's Modern Bogles for you. If you have any questions or comments, leave a comment or message below or into my inbox. I can answer them. But as much as I love Burn, Bogles is so much more fun and modern. And you get actually just crapped on by Infect because they don't care how much life gain you have. That's a different point, because there's plenty of other decks out there than Infect, and you do well against just about all of them. Anyway, thanks for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, and like I said, if you had any comments or questions, leave them below, and I'll get to answering them as soon as I can. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.